Let me start off with hitting you with some statistics straight off the bat. At the time of recording, 2022, 2023, this year alone, 37% of women and 29% of men reported experiencing anxiety on a regular basis. That has gone up in the last 10 years by about 10%. So if you are someone who experiences anxiety, first thing you need to know is you're not alone. But we do need to do something about it because anxiety can be debilitating. I've struggled with anxiety for most of my life, but I didn't even realize that that's what this debilitating force in my life was. Now, as someone who has struggled with anxiety, you need to have loads of tricks up your sleeve because anxiety is never going to be the same each time. It may not be triggered by the same thing. It may manifest itself in different ways. And just like no two people are the same, no two people experience anxiety the same way, and no two people experience anxiety the same way, the same time. So make sure you have a lot of strategies if this is an issue for you or someone you love. Because what worked yesterday might not work today. But if you have enough tricks up your sleeve, you will be able to conquer the anxiety so that you can move forward effectively in the way you want to in life. So the strategy that I'm going to outline today is an almighty powerful one that I use on a regular basis still, and that the people that I have worked with have found incredibly effective, and I want you to be able to adopt it and use it for yourself. This 3-step strategy has saved me in so many moments when I have felt those little familiar inklings of anxiety coming on. And if you're someone who has struggled with anxiety a lot over the years, you may know exactly what I'm talking about. When suddenly the chemicals in your body just shift slightly and you can think, okay, this feels familiar. And it may not be that at that moment you know exactly what's going on or what's triggered it, but you know you're heading down a road you've been down before. And this strategy is most effective when you can pull it out of your pocket in that very first moment when you realize that something has shifted. Number 1, become aware of your breathing. Now, it's really important here that you don't try and change your breathing, because sometimes for some people that is actually going to increase the anxiety or the worry or the panic, because suddenly it feels like something that has to be altered. But what I find is that the very act of becoming aware of your breath will mean that on a really fundamental and authentic level, the breathing does change to a more natural pace for you. But if I were to say to you right now, breathe on a count of 6, that may not ring true to where you are at that moment dealing with your anxiety. So just become aware of your breath. And I like to do this in 3 different ways. Either hold your hand up in front of your mouth and just feel the breath on your hand. So again, you don't need to be changing the pace of the breath. You don't need to be making it in through the nose, out through the mouth in this moment. By the way, I should say, of course, there are incredible breathing strategies that I invest heavily into and that I encourage you to as well. Right now, in this particular strategy for anxiety, we're not talking about those breathing techniques. We're just talking about becoming aware of your breath. And here's how. Place that hand in front of your mouth and feel the air on your hand. Or place your hand on your chest and just feel the breath coming in and out. Feel the weight of your chest going up and down underneath your hands in accordance with your breath. Or place your hands on your tummy. Do the exact same thing. Feel that belly going in and out with each breath. And as you become aware of that breath, you will find yourself returning to a kind of center. It may not be your most calm center, but it will be your physical center in that moment. The second part of this strategy is to label. We use the sentence, I am feeling anxious. Or you can say, I am feeling worried, if that rings more true. Or you can say, I am feeling panicky, if that rings more true to you. But the important thing here is that we are using a language of empowerment. Notice we're saying, I am feeling, not I'm anxious. I am feeling anxious removes that feeling one step. It is not something we are, it is something we are experiencing. And that distinction is absolutely integral to helping you move through that period anxiety to a place of calm. You finish that sentence now. I am feeling anxious because, and then reach for whatever rings true in that moment. Find the end of that sentence. Try to pinpoint down the kernel of truth. What is it in that moment that is making you feel anxious? Now, if you are someone who struggles with anxiety, you might be saying right now, yeah, but Maddy, it's a million things. That's the point, is that I always feel anxious when I've got too much on, or when there are too many things compounding, or it's never just one thing, or it's not really a thing. It's just a feeling that overwhelms me. I know. I've felt it all and I've heard it all. The act of digging deep to finish that sentence will help to curb that anxiety and help to steer you back to a place of rational calmness, which is what you need. So fill out that sentence as best as you can in the moment. Obviously, don't worry if you haven't kind of got exactly the truth of the matter. The act of doing that is actually more important than whether or not you're spot on with the diagnosis of what's making you anxious. So that's the second step. I am feeling anxious because, and you finish that sentence. And then the third step, when you've got that sentence, is to write it down. Wherever you are, whip out your little reporter's notebook that I keep on me at all times, and I hope you do too. Get a pencil, write it down. You know, if you know me at all, that I'm a big proponent of writing things down by hand as opposed to jotting it into my phone. But look, if that's all you've got to put it into your phone, then do that. The act of writing it down takes it out of your body and away from you. And then you can see it. You can reflect on it without it being still inside of you. You are literally creating distance between the feeling of anxiety and yourself. Look, I want you to try this strategy and I want you to let me know how it goes. This was a game changer for me. And as I mentioned before, having lots of different strategies to tackle your anxiety or your chronic worry or your panic is really key. You need to feel that you have the toolbox to handle the situations that come up for you. This strategy couldn't be simpler. And if you have it at the ready, when you feel those beginning inklings of anxiety, that familiar feeling coming upon you. Number one, pay attention to your breath, either here or here or here. Number two, say the sentence, I am feeling anxious because, and then finish that sentence. And number three, write it down. So it is no longer in you. It is separate from you. I hope this has been useful for you today. I can't wait to hear how you've used it. I can't wait to hear the impact it has on your life. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button so that you are always aware of these videos as they come out. And do check out the description box below because I've put loads of free resources to help you to get to living your best life. I'll see you again real soon.